is learning how special Ekal is. And there's three reasons. The first is, as I do the calculations, it's an exceptionally high impact per dollar. And you know, when we give money, we really ought to be rational, not just emotional about it. What do I love about Ekal? I think they're at the impact trifecta, okay? It's just three simple things. It's simple to say, very hard to do. They reach people who are most vulnerable, who are, villages at the end of the dirt road where there's no government school, as we've heard, typically. They deliver positive outcomes. So if you actually read through the papers, there's third-party evaluators who've looked at Ekal schools and the educational outcomes there versus the local government schools. And you see actually great evidence suggesting higher impact. And then of course there's locations where there is no government school. And then finally, the efficiency here is remarkable. 400,000 volunteers, an organization based on Seva. The statistic there is for every $1 donated to Ekal, you're levering about $8 of volunteer labor for free. So it is just an incredible impact per dollar. So I think that's very special, and you don't see this very often, not at this scale. Now the next thing is, I really appreciate how Ekal develops the whole person. Here you can see in the picture here, this is a classroom where the students are learning meditation. And 20 years ago, I was volunteering at the Gandhi Ashram, at the Sabarmati Ashram in Ahmedabad. And I was talking to a mentor of mine. He started an organization called ESI, Environmental Sanitary Institute. It's basically building toilets all across rural India. And so he had spent, Ishwar Bhai, Ishwar Kaka, he had spent much time in the villages. And I said, what is the biggest problem in India's villages? And he said, it's addiction. The devil resides in idle minds. And because either there's not enough education or there's not enough employment and opportunities, in that idle time, people turn to vices, drinking, drugs, sometimes domestic violence. It's tough, it breaks families apart. So when I thought about Ekal's work at developing the insides of people, this is this phrase is in the yoga studio I go to in San Francisco. It says, no yoga, no peace, no yoga, no peace. I love that Ekal does this kind of values-based transformational work. I think it's very special. Third thing, we just saw with the youth panel, but not many organizations would actually create this kind of opportunity for connection back to India, especially for the second and third generation. A few years ago, Time magazine labeled the young generation, how many of you saw this cover? The me generation. Because the kids are, they got the cell phones. Depression, unhappiness, there's bullying, it's a tough age to be a young person. Well, what's the antidote? How do you inoculate young people against that? I think it's service. It's being on purpose. The young people who spoke here, the thing I feel so good about is when you're on purpose. I honestly think, what did Gandhiji say? To find yourself, you can lose yourself in the service of others. I think that is one of the greatest gifts that this organization gives. So many ways to plug in and find purpose.